Hello, sweet friend. Welcome back to the Homestead. I'm Kelsey, and today we're going to work on a project that I have been wanting to do for a long time now. If you've been following my channel, you know I've talked about putting a seating area in the garden, because what is a garden without a place to sit and admire its beauty and all of the hard work that you've put into it? I did some searching and I found this beautiful set from Yitahome, and when it arrived, the kids and I were so excited to get it put together. You put a washer. See, that's the washer. This set was so simple to assemble, just a few screws that needed tightening, came with everything you needed, and it didn't take very long to get it put together. I love the look of white in the garden to break up all of the color. However, I was a little worried with white that it would just get dirty so quickly, but this is all washable. It's also water resistant and stain resistant, which is music to my ears. And let me tell you, it's really comfortable. I reached out to Yitahome, and they were kind enough to give you all a 15% off discount if you are in the market for any sort of outdoor furniture. They also have lots of other things on their site, really beautiful, well made, and I think they have really great prices too. So go ahead and check out that link in the description. Hey friend, come forage with me. Spring foraging. There is so much beauty to be found as creation springs back to life. We could find all sorts of things, but today we're just gonna focus on dandelions and wild violets. Nothing groundbreaking, I know, but you can't discredit them. Do you have any idea how beneficial and healing they are? Let's talk about them. But first, just a quick reminder, when you are foraging, make sure you're doing it in a place where you feel is safe from pesticides and any sort of chemicals, but also from areas where animals, like dogs and cats, may use that space as a bathroom. We don't want any of that in any of the concoctions we're making. Okay, dandelion, total powerhouse. You can use all parts of the plant, flowers, leaves, roots, and even the seed heads. Dandelions are a bitter. They are known most for their beneficial effect on the digestive system, the urinary system, and the pancreas. They can stimulate bile flow, aid the liver, and are also a diuretic to aid the kidneys. Different uses include digestive aid. They can correct constipation, lower blood pressure, reduce muscle spasms, regulate blood sugar, aids in detoxification, stimulates appetite, improves liver function, improves gallbladder function, builds your blood, and aids against bladder infections. Around these parts, lots of people have dandelion salads or dandelion root coffee. I know quite a few people who make dandelion wine. You can harvest the roots, peel them, boil them, and saute them. I personally take a dandelion root tincture, and I drink the organic Dandy Blend herbal beverage daily. Now, the wild violet, it has all sorts of good things in it. I'm going to attempt to pronounce them correctly. Phenolic glycosides, saponins, flavonoids, alkaloids, mucilage, and tannins, among other things. This makes the wild violet good for lowering elevated blood pressure, can soothe and act as an expectorant that relieves coughs, can be used as a painkiller and an anti-inflammatory. It is fantastic for dissolving cysts and is also proved useful for the treatment of warts. You can use it to make poultices, tinctures, syrups, and also compresses. So here is all the loveliness we foraged together. So we got about 4 cups of dandelion tops and about 1.5 to 2 cups of the wild violets. They're starting to wilt a little bit, so they're shrinking in size. So we thought in order to properly enjoy our new seating arrangement, we'd have a little bit of a garden tea time and make some fun things to enjoy out there. So we're gonna make some dandelion jelly, which I am using Pomona's pectin, the recipe from here. It's called Nana's Favorite Dandelion Jelly. And I love Pomona's pectin because you don't have to use as much sugar, which is wonderful. And then we're gonna make a wild violet lemonade, which has a fun reaction to it, which you'll see in a little bit. We're also gonna make some strawberry scones to enjoy with our dandelion jelly. So the first thing that we need to do is boil some water, and we're gonna steep both of these things for a little while. I do need to separate all of the little yellow petals from their green base. The green base has a bitter taste to it. We don't want that, so I'm gonna get started on that and get some water boiling. Not gonna lie, this process was long. Still turned out really good, but it took a good long while to get all of these little petals away from their green bases. But it's a great opportunity to involve children or grandchildren to help make the work go a little bit faster. Throw on some praise and worship music, and I got the job done. It's funny to think so many people look for any way they can to just kill these things and get them out of their yards. They're just the most invasive weed. And while they are pretty invasive, I mean, they're literally everywhere. Matt and I were just going through town and we were just kind of chuckling at the amount of dandelions in some people's yards. But if they only knew the gold mine that was in among their grass, they'd probably be blown away. There's an abundance of medicine just growing all around us that we've been made believe are just a nuisance. And if people only put half as much effort into using these resources as they do trying to get rid of them, I think we'd have some healthier people. I've got my water boiling here in my electric tea kettle. Let me tell you, since I got this, it's been a game changer. It boils water so quickly. It makes preparing my herbal teas just so much more convenient. There's no hassle. It's so low profile, just sits at the ready on my countertop, and it even comes with this little infuser insert that you can put loose leaf herbs in there and have it brew while it's boiling. It's amazing, and it even has an auto shut off. Gonna pour 2 cups of water over our wild violets. We're gonna cover this, and this is gonna sit overnight, at least 24 hours. All of our dandelion petals will get covered with 4 cups of boiling water. This one only needs to steep for about 30 minutes, so we'll cover it and then come back to strain the petals out of the mixture. is what our wild violet infusion is looking like after a little more than 24 hours. It's beautiful, deep, almost navy blue color. So I'm gonna get the flowers here strained out. To get started on our dandelion jelly, I have my dandelion tea here. We're gonna measure out 4 cups. If we don't have 4 cups, we're just gonna top it off with some filtered water. Looks like I'll need about a 1/3 cup more. So we're gonna add our 4 cups dandelion infusion to a pan. To that, we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of lemon juice. With Pomona's pectin, they give you a little packet of, I guess, just calcium, and you mix that with some water. And we're gonna add 4.5, I almost said cups, 4.5 teaspoons of this mixture to our dandelion infusion. So that was 4.5. This goes on to the stove. We're gonna bring it to a boil. While we wait for that to boil, we're gonna mix some pure cane sugar with some of Pomona's pectin. So we need 1 cup of sugar, and we need 4.25 teaspoons of Pomona's pectin. We're gonna mix that well together. Now, I've been using Pomona's pectin now, this is my 2nd year, and I really enjoy a lot of those recipes. I'm not afraid of sugar, but some of the canning recipes for jelly, it's just outrageous, like 8+ cups of sugar. It's just like, no, thank you. So I'll do a little bit of both, but I've really enjoyed Pomona's pectin. So we got our dandelion mixture up to a boil. We're gonna slowly add in our pectin and sugar mixture, stirring the entire time. And then once that returns back to a rolling boil, we can turn off the heat and remove it. So I have my clean jars here, just a little bit warm. I'm gonna ladle my jelly mixture in here to 1/4 inch headspace. If there's a whole bunch of foam, I'll skim that off, make sure the headspace is correct. Wipe down the rims, get off any sticky residue that would affect our seal. I'm gonna add some new washed lids. I'm gonna add some rings to fingertip tight. And get our jars here into our canner. Oftentimes when I'm just doing small jars, things of jelly, I will just use my stock pot. I'm not quite ready to get that big old canner out just yet. As long as you have at least 1 inch of water over top of your jars, your pot is big enough. And you need to make sure you have a lid for it. We cover. Bring to a rolling boil. Once it achieves rolling boil, you start the timer for 10 minutes. let's make some scones. There's something about a scone that I just love. I mean, I love biscuits, and this is just a slightly sweet biscuit, so maybe that's what it is. But they're so versatile, super easy to make, and I mean, the flavors are just endless. So today we're making a strawberry scone, nice and refreshing. So we'll start by dicing up some strawberries. This recipe calls for 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to make a double batch today because why not? Then I can throw some in the freezer for another time. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. One-third cup of granulated sugar is all you need. Again, I'm doubling it. That's why I had a bit more than that. I've cubed up 1 stick or 4 ounces of unsalted butter. Very cold, by the way. You want it nice and cold. We're just going to use our hands to get it all mixed together and just have a really shaggy, crumbly mixture. For our wet ingredients, 1 batch is a 1/2 cup of milk, 1 large egg, and 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. We combine our wet with our dry ingredients until just combined. We don't want to overmix. Then we're going to add in 1 cup of fresh strawberries per batch and just gently fold them in. I like to dump it out onto my work surface and kind of bring the dough together, flattening it out a bit. Usually I would make this into a disc and then cut it into segments like a pie, but I decided to make them into biscuits this time because there's something in my children's minds where if it's a circle, they associate it with a cookie and then they're more likely to eat it. So we're doing what we gotta do. We're gonna get some scones in them, and we made them like biscuits this time. I like to brush the tops with some heavy cream, but you could also make an egg wash. These go into a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 18 minutes. We're gonna make some icing for on top of our scones. I ground up some of my freeze-dried strawberries, a couple tablespoons, and I'm adding about a cup of powdered sugar. I added just enough heavy cream to get it to come together to the consistency that I wanted. And I got that spread over the top of the scones.
we're gonna work on some planters. I think I'm gonna put them over at the new seating area. I got these urns at Walmart. I actually really liked the way they look. I mean, it's plastic. It's a heavy duty plastic. But they had kind of like a faux concrete look, a little aged. And I was all about the price. I think they were $18.99 a piece. I think they're about 24 inches high and 16 inches in diameter at the top. I had gone to another greenhouse and they had such a beautiful selection of planters, but oh my, something like this that was like actual like concrete or something that was like terracotta was close to $200. Now, that place may have been a bit on the higher price side, but still, I'm much happier with $18.99 for how my children are. You know, I'm not investing $200 into a planter when I have little kids, nor would I ever, but my kids would find a way to break them easily. So this is what we're working with. I got 2 of these, and let me show you my plants. So I was going with purples and yellows. I saw these guys. I think this is Nemesia. Yes. And it was such like a pretty, almost pinky purple lilac shade with little yellow centers, and I loved that. So that was kind of like my starting point. And then I got some yellow supertunias, some white supertunias, and then we're gonna do a deep purple sweet potato vine. And then we've got a silver helichrysum here that will trail down. And we've got some bronze spikes. So I got 1 of each of these. Whenever I do planter arrangements, I think I've mentioned it before. I used to work in a greenhouse. Now, it's been many years since I worked in a greenhouse, but when I worked there, I would do a lot of arranging in the planters as well as like succulent gardens. So since then, like that was back college days. Since then, like I haven't done a whole lot of really nice planters for myself. However, I tend to have like this tendency to overfill something because I want it to look full, but these things will fill in. I got some thrillers, some spillers, and some fillers. And they should, hopefully, in the next couple weeks, really fill it in nicely. I may go back to the greenhouse, though, and get something else if I think it just looks way too sparse. But this is what you're going to start with. So do always make sure that you've got some drainage holes in whatever container you are using. Otherwise, your plants very likely will drown and just rot to nothing. I'm just gonna use some potting mix. This is just Miracle Grow. I usually don't buy this if I'm using bagged soil for vegetables because I don't love what's in like their fertilizers and stuff. But for flowers, it's totally fine. Doesn't bother me at all, and it's usually the cheapest. So that's what I've got here. I'm just gonna fill this guy up. So I think I want the center to be like the highest point, and then just have things around there and then some things spill over the side. I think I may have to go back and get a second spiller or a third spiller. I have 2, but I kind of like 3. I like odd numbers when I'm doing things. So let me get this guy in here. I might need a little bit more soil. We'll do some petunias, 1 on each side. Some different types of thyme, and instead of going back and getting more Nemesia, maybe I'll just put the thyme in here because that I think looks pretty. That variegation in here. Let's see, I can always take it out. lettuce here, and the sweet potato vine over here. I think I'll go back and I'll get one more each of the sweet potato vine and the helichrysum or something similar. That works for now.
Here the planters are a week later, already starting to fill in beautifully. I did go ahead and purchase another spiller. I got a dichondra, and I think it really just finished it off. And I'm loving the way they're looking, and they're going to keep filling in. Now it's time for our finishing touch on our little garden party. We're going to make some wild violet lemonade. So I have 12 lemons here that I am juicing. To the pitcher here, I am adding 1 cup of organic pure cane sugar and 2 cups of warm water. I'm just doing this to get all of the sugar to dissolve and for everything to combine smoothly. We don't want any little gritty pieces. Next, I'll add in the juice of those 12 lemons and another 6 cups of water.
Come here. Take a guess. What color do you think this is gonna turn this?
Pink. Pink.
Pink? That's a pretty good guess. You wanna see?
Yep.
Ready?
Go for it.
Whoa! It's a beautiful purple-like pink color.
Hi, can I see you?
Isn't that so pretty?
Me too.
The fun thing about the violets is when you pour the boiling water over them, they turn this beautiful, like sapphire blue. And then when you add the lemon juice, the citric acid reacts to those cyan compounds, lowers the pH, turning it to like this beautiful purple pink. This dandelion jelly is honestly so lovely. It is very light, mild in flavor, a hint of lemon, a hint of floral, and just delightful. When Matt got home for lunch that day, we decided to officially break in our new garden seating with our little garden party. So we had our lemonade, our scones, and the kids had some chicken nuggets, and we had a nice little picnic. It was a beautiful day, 75 degrees and sunny with a light breeze, and we all just enjoyed being still, being together, enjoying the garden and the yummy treats we made. We are so enjoying this new seating area in the garden. Matt and I have come out and just talked after the day, watched the kids play after it has cooled down and the sun is setting. It's nice for me after I've been working in the garden to just come and sit and look over everything that I have accomplished and plan the next day's affairs. It's also a nice reminder for me, someone who tends to take on a lot of things, that sometimes I need to slow down, relax, find and enjoy all of the beauty around me. Thank you, friend, for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed. You have a blessed week, and I will see you next time. Take care.